So I hope by now you have listened to the recording of Sandra Cisneros reading her short story 11. If you have not, please back out of this video and look in this folder for today and go listen to that. You need to hear her read her text first. I think that's very important that that's the first hearing of this text that you have. So see you when you're done watching that. Now that you've listened to her read the story, I'm going to read it to you again, but I want you to wait just a second. I want you to think about some very specific things as I'm reading. We talked yesterday, you watched a video, Miss Martin gave you the definition of imagery, and she talked about similes, and she gave you some examples of both of those and talked about how they were used in writing that made writing even more powerful. Anything that you read that allows you to experience something that the character is experiencing, whether it's a feeling or almost being able to smell what they're smelling or hear what they're hearing, see what they're seeing. That's powerful writing right there. And there are lots of different ways that we can achieve that. And figurative language, using imagery, using similes are super important for creating such powerful writings. So today, I'm going to ask that you please listen for examples of those kinds of things. There's lots of examples of imagery in this piece, and there are quite a few examples of similes in this piece. So I want you to kind of perk your ears up to listen for those very specific things. Throughout this video, the video will stop and you will be able to answer some questions about similes and about imagery, so you're going to want to pay attention. Please know that once you get to a question to answer, there are some choices. You can go back and listen to the part before again if you think you missed something and you think it's important for you to answer the question correctly. You can go back, but you can't go on until you've answered the question. So pay close attention, okay? That is how you'll get your grade for today. So I'm excited to read this short story to you. It's a powerful piece. I loved hearing her read it because there's nothing quite like hearing an author read their own words. But I think you're gonna enjoy the story, even though you just heard it. We're gonna enjoy it again. I'll post the words so you can follow along. We call this piece a short story. A short story is a piece of fiction, so not fact, made up story, that can generally be read in one sitting. Now, I have been known to sit for hours and read an entire novel through at a time. That is not a short story. We're going to be able to read the story within the constraints of this video, so in less than 15 minutes, even with my blabbing on here at the beginning. So that is a short story when you can start and finish in just one time sitting and reading it. Something I want to put just in the back of your head, because in a couple days we're going to be talking about these very specifically. I want you to pay attention to the characters in this story. There aren't very many, but I want you to look at the character traits that Sandra Cisneros shows us. Character traits are any qualities that help us as the reader understand a character's personality. Even in a short story where we don't feel like there's a whole lot of time to get to know a character, sometimes those character traits can be really powerful and let us feel like we can make a connection to that character, even in such a short time. You can determine a character's traits by paying attention to what they say. Sometimes narrators are able to let us know what the characters are thinking, and what they're feeling, and obviously throughout the story we can see their actions. Those are all things that help us discover their characters' traits. Even the things that other characters in the story say or think or do help us know about their character, but also about the other characters. Sometimes the author comes right out and tells you something about a character because you need to know. Or they can spend the time in their writing describing what the character looks like, which is super helpful, I think, for when, I don't know about you, but when I'm reading a story, especially if I'm really into it, I have this mental movie that plays in my head, kind of like imagining all the things that are happening and what the characters are saying. That's how I know it's a good story, when I can make that movie happen in my head. But I have to have all of those character traits to be able to build that movie correctly. So, we're paying most attention today to imagery and similes. but I want you to take note of the character traits that you see in this as well, because we will be talking about that later this week. Let's read 11 by Sandra Cisneros. What they don't understand about birthdays, and what they never tell you, is that when you're 11, you're also 10, and 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're still 10, and you are, underneath the year that makes you 11. Like, some days you might say something stupid, and that's the part of you that's still 10. Or maybe some days you might need to sit on your mama's lap because you're scared, and that's the part of you that's 5. And maybe one day, when you're all grown up, maybe you will need to cry, like if you're 3, and that's okay. That's what I tell Mama when she's sad and needs to cry. Maybe she's feeling 3. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. You don't feel 11, not right away. It takes a few days, weeks even, sometimes even months before you say 11 when they ask you. And you don't feel smart 11, not until you're almost 12. That's the way it is. Only today I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a tin Band-Aid box. Today, I wish I was 102 instead of 11, because if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the red sweater on my desk. I would have known how to tell her it wasn't mine, instead of just sitting there with that look on my face and nothing coming out of my mouth. "Whose is this?" Miss Price says, as she holds the red sweater up in the air for all the class to see. "Whose? It's been sitting in the coat room for a month." "Not mine," says everybody. "Not me." "Well, it has to belong to somebody," Mrs. Price keeps saying, but nobody can remember. It's an ugly sweater, with red plastic buttons, and a collar, and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. It's maybe 1,000 years old, and even if it belonged to me, I wouldn't say so. Maybe because I'm skinny? Maybe because she doesn't like me? That stupid Sylvia Saldivar says. I think it belongs to Rachel. An ugly sweater like that, all raggedy and old? But Mrs. Price believes her. Mrs. Price takes the sweater and puts it right on my desk. But when I open my mouth, nothing comes out. That's not, I don't, you're not mine, I finally say in a little voice that was maybe me when I was 4. "Of course it's yours," Mrs. Price says. "I remember you wearing it once." Because she's older? And the teacher? She's right, and I'm not. Not mine, not mine, not mine. But Miss Price is already turning to page 32 and math problem number 4. I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm feeling sick inside. Like the part of me that's 3 wants to come out of my eyes, only I squeeze them shut tight and bite down on my teeth real hard and try to remember today I am 11. 11. Mama is making a cake for me for tonight, and when Papa comes home, everybody will sing happy birthday to you. But when the sick feeling goes away and I open my eyes, the red sweater's still sitting there like a big red mountain. I move the red sweater to the corner of my desk with my ruler. I move my pencil and books and eraser as far from it as possible. I even move my chair a little to the right. Not mine, not mine, not mine. In my head, I'm thinking how long till lunchtime. How long till I can take the red sweater and throw it over the schoolyard fence, or leave it hanging on a parking meter, or bunch it up into a little ball and toss it in the alley. Except When math period ends, Miss Price says loud and in front of everybody, "Now, Rachel, that's enough," because she sees I've shoved the red sweater to the tippy-tip corner of the desk, and it's hanging all over the edge like a waterfall. But I don't care. "Rachel," Miss Price says. She says it like she's getting mad. "You put that sweater on right now, and no more nonsense." "But it's not now," Miss Price says. This is when I wish I wasn't 11, because all the years inside of me, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, are pushing at the back of my eyes when I put one arm through one sleeve of the sweater that smells like cottage cheese, and then the other arm through the other, and stand there with my arms apart like if the sweater hurts me, and it does, all itchy and full of germs that aren't even mine. That's when everything I've been holding in since this morning, since when Mrs. Price put the sweater on my desk, finally lets go, and all of a sudden I'm crying in front of everybody. I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11, and it's my birthday today. And I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everybody. I put my head down on the desk and bury my face in my stupid clown sweater arms, my face all hot and spit coming out of my mouth because I can't stop the little animal noises from coming out of me until there aren't any more tears left in my eyes, and it's just my body shaking like when you have the hiccups, and my whole head hurts like when you drink milk too fast. But the worst part is right before the bell rings for lunch. That stupid Phyllis Lopez, who is even dumber than Sylvia Saldivar, says she remembers the red sweater is hers. I take it off right away and give it to her. Only Mrs. Price pretends like everything's okay. Today I am 11. There's a cake Mama's making for tonight, and when Papa comes home from work, we'll eat it. There'll be candles and presents, and everybody will sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Rachel. Only it's too late. I'm 11 today. I'm 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But I wish I was 102. I wish I was anything but 11. Because I want today to be far away already. Far away like a runaway balloon, like a tiny O in the sky. So tiny, tiny you have to close your eyes to see it.